Davidson twist.
Save, rebound, but wide. Darren Pang just wrapped him.
Can't beat the heart of a lion and Kelly Chase. Gardner is in alone, shooting. Pang again! What a glove save!
I know one thing. He's not going to back Kelly Chase up at all. Chase will fight this thing until he's absolutely out of gas.
A great play along the wall to start with, is keeping the puck in. Shattenkirk with a quick decision. Schwartz bouncing on the puck.
The save of the year. The absolute save of the year. Holy jumping, what a save this is.
The pucker factor down on the Chicago bench is pretty high right now, let me tell you.
The Blues have stuck with the plan. The push was on, and that leaves the sniper off the bar and in the net. And that is our drive to the net, and why wouldn't it be?
This is Chasing Pucks with Panger, only on NHLPodcast.com, a Lineup Media Group production. Now, your hosts, Kelly Chase and Darren Pang.
Welcome in, Chasing Pucks with Panger. Panger, good to have you on NHLPodcast.com. Hey, great week of hockey. Lots of stuff going on around the league. We get a chance to sit in and tap into some of it and give our opinions. And I kind of getting into this podcast thing, pal. I got to be honest with you. I had some good reactions, some, of course, negative reactions on some of the things I thought last week, which I love.
Hold on, give me an update. What was it? What did you get?
Some guys were, they weren't happy with a couple of the things I said. First of all, the officials, protecting the officials.
Yep.
Thought I was more than fair with them. Tell them it's a hard job, but I still think they should answer the media.
Yeah.
Just a couple of things that we had said about, maybe bringing some stuff out and talking about whether or not we really do need to talk about the negative of Sidney Crosby's having a riff with Mario Lemieux and all the gossip part of it. But that's what makes it fantastic. And for us, we're lucky. We get to be around the league and hear a little bit of the side stories, which I think is extremely interesting. And one of them this week, of course, is from your old team, Patrick Kane. What an
You watched the game on what was it, on Thursday night in Ottawa?
Keep away.
Yeah.
Him and the young Russian kid.
Yeah.
It's
we got to rename Kane. It's got to be Kaneoff.
Kaneoff?
Yeah, because it was with Anisimov and Panarin, Artemi Panarin, and now it's Patrick Kaneoff.
Panarin and Kane have got a similar look, a similar disposition, and a phenomenal ability to see and project where other guys are going on the ice, and the puck arriving at the same time their teammates do. To me, it's awesome watching them. It was, if you just watched the highlights like Brad Shaw said today, you would have thought they were the only line that played.
That was a good line by Brad Shaw. Brad Shaw is an associate coach of the St. Louis Blues, and whenever you ask Brad a question, he gives you a good answer. Huh? He said, "Watch the highlights," and looked to me like there was only one line out there. I would actually only say there was two players out there. No offense to Anisimov, who scored a nice goal because of a great play by Kane, going the old fake behind the net and reverse the flow to the same direction that you came from.
Was that something?
How many times have we seen that kind of goal this year, though?
Well, Pavel Demitra was the best that I saw at it. He would throw it out the backside of the net. Kachuk and Mellenby. Usually Kachuk arriving first and Mellenby on the other side. And it was awesome. I mean, the way that those guys could do that was phenomenal. Patrick Kane, he was 3/4 of the way backside of the net when he did that last night.
Did you see where Anderson was, the goalie?
I did. Completely on the other side of the net, worried about the wraparound from the kid.
Hey, when Pavel Demitra did it, he's a left-hand shot with a big toe curve, right?
Yeah.
Pav was?
Mm-hmm.
Did he go on his backhand side and then pass on the forehand, or did he go on the forehand side and pass on the backhand?
Passed on the backhand.
Just exactly the same way as Kane did.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I've noticed that some guys are going, the other way, and then they reverse it this way.
They would
they're going to get drilled
down the right wing and feed it back to the backside.
Yeah.
Now, if you remember Dallas Drake used to make a living catching guys coming around the net.
He would drill them.
That back pass.
Boy.
He knew they were going to do it, and he would come from the wing all the way down and meet him right at the post.
The first guy that I saw drill a guy that way was Wendell Clark. He was good at that hit, too. Oh, my.
He hit Bruce Bell around the net. And poor Bruce Bell. They had to use a squeegee and a water hose and whatever else to get him out of there. Poor guy. It was awful.
What's Kane at right now? Right as we're doing this,
27 and his stats. His stats this year. I'm gonna have to pull them, buddy. I didn't do that.
But as we stand right here on this podcast, NHLPodcast.com, Chasing Pucks with Panger, He, on Thursday night in Ottawa, tied Bobby Hull, right?
21 games.
21 games.
21 games for the youngster.
And so that leads in all American-born players, but for the Blackhawk record, he's tied with Bobby Hull. Amazing that Bobby Hull didn't go more than 21 games.
Well, just harder to score, I think, and
get points.
The games were tighter. It just was, back then the games just weren't. Bobby Hull was one of the first guys, obviously, that could put somebody in a position where they could come out of their seats and really jump up and be a part of things. Get the crowd ignited. Patrick Kane does a lot of that. He's got 41 points this year, 16 and 25. Now, you can't talk about Patrick Kane, unfortunately, without the stuff that's gone on around him. So I think for him to concentrate, Panger, lesson learned from him, on we don't know the details of it, and we'd be foolish to start sitting on here guessing.
But he's a motivated athlete.
For whatever reason, he is a motivated athlete.
No you think last year when he broke the clavicle, and ends up not winning the Art Ross, he was leading at that time.
Right.
Jamie Benn wins it. John Tavares was there the whole way, probably until 20 minutes were left in the season.
That's exactly right.
Right?
Yep.
And then, so now you've got a guy that was sniffing around for the Art Ross trophy, and he's got a chance to do it again this year.
He's on a mission.
He's on a mission.
And here's the thing with Patrick Kane. He's had some incidents in the past, too, on the off ice. If you exclude what's just gone on, because we don't know what happened with it. But, he got in some grief. He was... the
cab driver?
Yeah, well, the cab driver. He got in some grief. A limousine thing. Listen, young guys do some silly things sometimes.
Not you and I. We never
did.
Well,
the one thing I will say, though, remember he took some grief about having a limo and his shirt off in the limo with some pictures or whatever?
In Vancouver.
Yeah. You win a cup.
I know. You're not allowed to do that?
You're a single guy. You're responsible enough to get a designated driver.
Yeah, exactly.
And heaven forbid you have girls in a limousine. Yeah. Oh, and you're drinking.
But you know what I wouldn't do it right now? Take my shirt off in any limousine.
Yeah, I wouldn't take my shirt off anywhere but in my bedroom right now. If that matters to anybody.
But if I'm Patrick Kane,
listen.
I'm having fun.
What a season this young man has had, and for whatever reason the focus is, he is focused, and I quite honestly enjoy watching the kid, and I mean obviously when you're doing the games and what our vocation is and where we're situated, we see quite a bit of him. But I think it speaks volumes about that team that they've been able to keep that core group of guys together. Seabrook on the back end with Keith, and then Jonathan Toews, and of course Corey Crawford. So if you could, that's the foundation of an excellent organization that has done volumes to keep a core group together and win 3 cups in 6 years.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And then, they added, Hossa was a good add-in. They got enough out of Patrick Sharp to win cups, and then move him along at his age to allow Artemi Panarin to step in there.
It's unbelievable. So when they talked about...
That transition's been really good for them, and it's been good for Dallas as well.
You talked to Joel Quenneville, and he was talking about how, he goes, listen, I think some of the guys, the young guys we have coming in, are better than the guys that we just won the cup with.
Yeah. They're not as experienced, but they're
right.
Yeah.
And that's
their
one
play
thing.
Right now.
Listen to me. He's the best coach in the league because he's figured out how to keep enough pucks on the ice for everybody to be happy.
That's hard to do, huh?
It certainly is. And with with Hossa there as well, which we didn't mention, he's made everybody happy, kept his stars happy, and has the foresight to realize that the older guys that were pieces that made them successful could move on and give young guys the opportunity to succeed. Remember, they lost Bren and Saad as well.
Yep.
Like, that's a big hole.
Yep.
Bickle didn't do anything in the playoffs and had a tough run. But I'll tell you what, you can't, not enough can be said about guys that play those kind of minutes for them. You lose them and then able to throw young guys in and pick up where they left off. I think it's phenomenal. I want to talk a little bit about a couple of teams that really there isn't a lot being said about right now, and one of them is the Washington Capitals. I mean, they right now the Washington Capitals, they just beat the Montreal Canadiens. They've I think they're on a 3-game winning streak. Mm-hmm. They're playing extremely tough hockey, and they were a team that maybe isn't getting a lot. They're getting the, as I like to say, the attention of a white crayon. And to me, I look at this Capitals team, and I start looking at some of the guys that are playing on this team and the points that they have right now. And I'm telling you, I think there isn't anything going on that's better right now than watching young offensive stars that we have in our game that are starting to find their way. A ton of them on that Washington team.
I like the makeup of the Washington team. Beginning of the year, I was on a panel, Chaser, and we all go through who we think. That's a tough challenge in itself. At the beginning, you're talking about September, and you're going to pick a Stanley Cup winner. I'm never generally right in that area, but in the panel that I was on, several picked Washington to get to the Stanley Cup final and represent the East. And I thought about it, and I was thinking at that time, I'm thinking, boy, they're going to miss. They're going to miss Troy Brouwer. They're going to miss Joel Ward. Those are two big plotting right wingers, heavy guys, down low plays. They bring in Justin Williams, who I'm not going to speak for you. I think I'm a huge fan of Justin Williams for a lot of reasons. I think that this is where maybe analytics or a hockey school mentality evaluating a player. Justin Williams wouldn't get drafted and wouldn't get picked if you put a bunch of numbers on a player and you send him out for a scrimmage. But then you watch the games, and he's the guy that gets the puck in the corner. He's the guy that makes the play at a big time in a game. He scores goals. I'm just such a big fan of his for those reasons. And TJ Oshie, who we obviously know real well and saw him develop as a player and as a man in St. Louis. He needed a change. He got a change, and he's having the time of his life right now, playing with Kuznetsov and Ovechkin. So we need a Russian name for him too. Oshiov? It's got to be Oshiov. No, that's
wrong way, wrong path.
But anyway, he's having, and that's a good team. I was looking at their D2, hard matchups, huh? Carlson, big, strong defenseman. Brooks Orpik, between the whistles, and in a 7-game matchup.
I'm not a fan of him.
But in that matchup game,
I know. Hey, listen.
In the matchup game, you gotta know that he's hard for players to play
against. I understand what exactly it is you're saying, but for me, I'm not. I think Brooks Orpik, the way he hits and stuff, and then isn't able, and then doesn't like the fighting, which is part of the game, and loves to hit, and he's been suspended for hits. And the way he puts guys in vulnerable positions, I think it's not an honorable way to play for me. And is he hard to play against? I'm sure. He's big, he's strong, he's tough. And what's probably makes it more frustrating is that he's as big as he is, and he doesn't want to have anything to do with anything to initiate anything after he hits guys in vulnerable positions. And to me, that would be a frustrating thing for me.
How about his part? How about when they picked up Matt Niskanen?
I love the pick. I love the pick.
At that time, it seemed like it's a heavy deal. But you want the player, you get the player, right? Isn't that the way? If you really want the player, get the player. No
question.
So they pickpocket 2 players and one a right-hand shot, which as we all know, we covet right-hand shots. Niskanen, I think Niskanen's played his best hockey with the Washington Capitals. I think he's been terrific. I think he's better than what I thought he was going to be. So they get Orpik and they get Niskanen from the Pittsburgh Penguins, and Pittsburgh is missing that identity on the blue line in a big way.
Absolutely.
I was looking at around even. How about Brooks Laich? He's basically playing 3rd and 4th line minutes for them. Big, strong winger.
He is.
I like Wash for the playoffs. It's all going to comes down to the goalie.
Fall in love in L.A. with the movie actresses. That's what happens. Could happen. Could happen. Your game could dip a little.
It could.
You play a role at home. You're playing a role now on the road.
I like Brooks. Wasn't it Brooks that stopped in them after a playoff game and after a loss and helped somebody with a flat tire? A fan that was leaving the game, they had a flat tire. He just stopped randomly because he saw they were in trouble on the street, and it was a...
Hey, listen, a guy...
That's pretty awesome. Don't tell me he's from Saskatchewan. For the love of Christmas.
Regina. Regina, Saskatchewan. It's no wonder you like the guy.
Okay, Uncle. I'm out. I'm out. Where's Holtby from?
Yeah, another guy.
Is he from Saskatchewan, too?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, speaking of Saskatchewan, because we are rambling all over the place, okay? Yeah. But another Saskatchewan boy, congratulations to John Cooper. Yeah, he got an extension from Steve Yzerman and the Tampa Bay Lightning.
I got to give the general manager credit. He sees his team in a little bit of a slide. He knows that the stock is down. He bounces on the guy and says, "Hey, what do you think? You want to get this extension done?" He's your buddy. He's a cagey veteran.
Yeah. Well, you think he's going to sign him to a long-term deal while they're 25-1? No, let's humble him a little bit. Let's get the dollar figure down.
John Cooper loves his team. He loves the city of Tampa.
Yeah.
Great situation for him and his wife and family, Jesse and the kids, and so he knew this was a place he wanted to. And he said, like he said, I'm working for a general manager. Privately said, I just still can't believe I'm going to work and Steve Yzerman's sitting across from me sometimes.
That
talking
used to be
hockey
privately. Now it's not anymore.
Yeah, it's not.
It's on NHLpodcast.com.
That's right. It used to be private. Sorry about your luck, fellas. No,
but you're right. It's a great point, though. Like John comes from a humble background and has become a great coach. And you're a big reason why he's a coach in the NHL.
Well, you know what?
You went to bat for him when he was a lawyer in Michigan. Is that right?
I did talk him into coming to coach for us, and I think that
with the St. Louis Bandits.
It was the Texarkana Bandits at the time.
Oh, Texarkana Bandits.
And he said, "You want me to leave my practice, and coach, or leave me a law practice?" And I said, "You're just fixing parking tickets anyway."
You are so bad.
Give him a hard time, but we've known each other since we were young guys, and I'm grateful for him doing that for us because we won 3 national championships in the time two with him and 1 with Jeff Brown, and I'm glad that he's having success. He's one of those guys that's a real loyal guy. He's taken his staff with him along the way and really helped out a lot of people along the way. And the kids that played for him that went on to college and are now working around town, they have a lot of respect for him as well. So I appreciate that out of Coop. And one thing about Tampa is one of those teams that we want to segue into that's scuffing it a bit. Mm-hmm. Calgary, Anaheim.
Yep.
Colorado, Columbus. Okay, if you take Tampa, obviously I believe they're going to get out of. They haven't hit that stride where they need that pace where they need to get to yet.
Yeah.
But Calgary makes the playoffs last year. Anaheim's a game away from going to the finals. Columbus, who just a fall from grace at the start of the year with 0-8, 0-7 or whatever, 0-8 maybe they started, and 0-7 before Tortorella got there. But I mean, what happens to those teams, Pan? What's going on in Calgary? Let's start there.
Okay, let's start with Calgary. Last year, they got everything out of that team. They had
so they caught lightning in a glass.
I would say so. They came from behind as much as any other team in the National Hockey League. I think Anaheim led the NHL last year in third period comebacks. Calgary was right there, Chaser. You're gonna come back and win miraculous games last year. They had such a great belief in themselves. Yeah. I love the way they played. I love the swagger that they had. I love the fact that team got to the second round of the playoffs.
Well, I think that the swagger included the way that the city approached them.
Yeah.
And the way that people embraced them, because they were looking for that in Calgary. And I think that I had a chance to talk with Lanny McDonald
Robert De Niro told me never to name drop.
Is Lanny McDonald name dropping? He's in with Robert De Niro. Wow. Well, I mean, I figured since we were talking hockey, we could talk about hockey players.
I just like the line.
Do I have to be?
No, you know what? Gretz told me that line.
No, do I have to be like some of the guys we see on TV and just say I talked to some internal staff?
No, you should say the name. I'm big on saying the state. I'm big on saying the name.
All right.
I talked to somebody inside the organization.
I talked to the insider. I talked to some people in the organization.
Hey, the guys I talked to.
You talked to a trainer. That's who you talk to, which is fine.
But you're not talking about me. You're talking about the other guys.
But Lanny said, hey, listen, we're proud of the young guys we have playing right now. He goes, I know that they got a lot going on in Edmonton because people were bringing up the Edmonton scenario. And we were doing hosting an event in Calgary. And he just said, but we have a lot of young guys we're extremely proud of. But I believe you're right. And the other thing is I know that nobody wants to hear this. I know if there are Calgary fans listening to our podcast, I know.
Are you taking ownership of this?
Hartley is coach of the year. I know he took the trophy up and shared it with everybody in the building and said this is great, that we're a part of this and so on and so forth. But hear me out. He also has a shelf life with the way he coaches. He is a demanding guy that, for whatever reason, young players have trouble after a while hearing the same note. I might be wrong with this, but I can tell you that...
But isn't that with every long-term coach?
It is. I don't know that he's a long-term
or career coach. I sorry about that. I mean, a career coach is they have the ability to get a lot out of guys.
Right.
Which Bob does.
He does, but I wonder about... He does.
Yeah, he does.
But I think
he's a former goalie. He's got to be, he's got to get that.
Well, that's one of my issues too.
That he's a former goalie?
Yeah.
That's not right.
No.
He's got Jacques Cloutier on there. He's a former goalie.
I think, how is it that I think that the guys, the expectations and the, how do you put this? I think the expectations and the demand from coaches daily is important, but I think you have a huge advantage if you played the game at this level. I think it's harder for a coach that didn't play the game at this level to understand what it takes night in and night out, day in and day out to be successful. And I think, because I often say to coaches when I hear one of my buddies is now a coach, for instance, whoever it is, Dan Heino, at one point I said, hey, how long did it take for you to forget that you weren't a very good player?
How long?
And he goes, "Doesn't take long."
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't take long.
Well, you're watching a lot of video.
Yeah,
you're looking at the game in a way different way.
It's extremely
an easier way.
Right. It's extremely harder to be positive. I think if you don't understand just how hard the game is.
Yeah. Now I'm going to go back to the Calgary coaching staff, because last year I gave them a ton of credit for their work on the bench, and I included Marty Jelena in that.
I think he's big for them, no question.
Obviously a real gamer in the NHL, a big-time player in my opinion, in your opinion, and just a good person, a positive guy.
Yeah.
And I think I watched his demeanor on the bench last year. I think he also helped out Hartz a lot, because he took a lot of ownership of the bench as well. And it reminded me a little bit of the years that in 2010 when the Montreal Canadiens went a long way to the conference final. And I watched, because I did many games between the benches, and I watched Kirk Muller work with Jacques Martin. And Kirk, I guess I'll use that word again, there was such ownership and such a connection that he had with the players. So he's a former player. All the players that are looking back, looking for direction, they're looking for Kirk. When someone needs to bark out a little order or whatever, then Jacques does his thing, because he is the head coach. And a guy like Marty Jelena or Kirk Muller, if they're assistants, they're not trying to run over the head coach. But you can tell that the players just want to hear what they have to say. And I saw that last year with Marty Jelena, and Jacques Cloutier has always been a real positive guy as well in his coaching career. But that helped Bob. But
I think you have to have a positive perspective, especially now. I tell you all the time. I think the athletes now are mostly visual learners, and they need short spurts of it because they're on Instagram and all of the other things that they do. They don't want to, nobody wanted to watch commercials, but the speed of life now is just different. And I think that if you don't have a guy that understands that and that wants to keep up with kind of what these kids are thinking and what they're doing day to day, it's harder for you to have a constructive conversation with them. And if you don't want to do that, then and you don't want to change and adapt, then there's nothing worse than a company that says, well, this is it's just because, why do you do it like that? Well, because that's the way we've always done it.
Yeah,
those are the companies that get left behind. So to me that's something that I think with Calgary, that I think Marty's just such an important part of it. Let's go to Anaheim.
Okay, let's go to Anaheim.
What is wrong?
No, let's go to Anaheim. It's cold around here.
Okay,
are you thinking Newport Beach? Because I'm going there right now if you want.
What do you think it is that's holding that group back?
Changes were made in the off season.
Yeah.
I thought that Kyle Palmieri last year played really well for them. Mm-hmm. I thought he had a really good playoff. They make a move. I know I'm missing somebody here. There's somebody else gone. Now I got to help me here. Edom gets traded for Carl Hagelin. Mm-hmm. Hagelin's a good player. We saw him in New York. He's a good player. Whatever reason right now, that chemistry of that group, they went a long way last year, and maybe it stung them a little bit that there's so many changes being made. Is that fair to say?
I think they got slower.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because Hagelin's a quicker player.
I think that they got slower, and I think that this team in Anaheim last year had a lot of momentum with the Kessler deal and what they did in the offseason. I think that Bob Murray tried to duplicate what he did, and I think he ran into some problems because the team isn't as active and it isn't as it doesn't have the same tendencies to be on the rush. Kevin Bieksa, love the way he plays, love everything about how he carries himself. But again, he's not a guy that, has the tendencies to just jump up on the play. And again, Boschman leaves. They didn't want to sign him for whatever reason. He had a big year, gets some traction in the free agent market too, and signs. I'll tell you what, if it's me, I think that there's been a little drop in play in the Anaheim Ducks.
Last year, let me see what.
Pardon me, not play speed.
Yeah, let me see where they were last year. I've got, me with my stupid notebooks here.
Right, I love it.
This is a playoff game last year against Chicago. So you had Maroon, Getzlaf, and Perry. Bolesky is the player I'm looking for. Sorry about that. Sorry, Matt. Matt Bolesky. They let him go to UFA.
Yeah.
They had a tough decision at the trade deadline. They didn't move him, kept him. If they win the Stanley Cup, you never know what's going to happen with that team. They're one game away from getting into the Stanley Cup final. But he, Kessler, and Silverberg were pretty good together. Bolesky's tough. He plays tough.
He's a
20-goal scorer that played tough and controlled the wing and did a good job that way.
In your nose.
Yeah. In your nose or in your face?
Yeah, in your nose. Same thing.
Okay. And then
we got to come up with these new sayings.
I know. In your nose. He's a good player. He plays in your nose.
Got a great with a high hockey IQ. I mean, it's all hockey IQ.
You know what? Thompson's been banged up, huh?
Right.
So that's another part. But Lindholm and Boschman played together. Fowler and Dupre. Stoner and Vatanen. They got some depth on the blue line, don't they? Oh, my goodness. They got that Josh Manson, good defenseman, right-hand shot. They got Vatanen as a right-hand shot.
Manson, now you played with his brother. He plays a little bit, or his father.
His father, yeah, Dave.
He's got a little.
You fought his father, I'm sure, once.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
His dad was a tough customer.
That was a great one of those picks. We talk about Colton Parayko in St. Louis, being a real gem. That Josh Manson was, I think, a 7th rounder, if I'm not mistaken, and went to college. Unlike his dad, that played major junior A in the West, and. Not known like Charlie made a name for himself playing alongside the likes of Ben Wilson and Glenn Cochran or whatever. Right. But this kid can skate, but he's got an edge to his game.
Got an edge.
And so he's the modern day defender for me. Skates, got an edge, can move the puck, tough, big enough, and they got some strength. So if they want to make any additions, for me, they have the ability to move a defenseman, and it could be a right-hander because BX is a right-hander. Vatanen's a right-hander. Josh Manson's a right-hander. So they got some strength there. And there's always teams looking for right-hand shots.
There's always teams looking for defensemen.
Yeah. So that's it. But Anaheim, to me, those big boys start chugging. Getzlaf and Perry, I know they're out of it right now. I'm not counting them out. I got Anaheim making the playoffs. That's a big stretch that's a big stretch, but I believe they're that good, and a core group of players that have won or been there before will find a way to get there.
Will there be a coaching change before that?
I'm going to say no. I don't know. You and I both don't know. Anyway, I'm just going to say no because I think there's going to be, it's going to be one of those bullets that Bob Murray still has by holding on and giving Bruce Boudreau that opportunity to get back at it.
All right.
This is NHLpodcast.com, Chaser.
Yeah, we're going to take a quick break on NHLpodcast.com and chase the pucks with Panger. Back in a minute.
Hey everybody, this is Matt Geiger from the You're on the Clock podcast, and if you love football the way I do, but hate hearing about the off-the-field drama that ESPN reports every day, then you need to go to ontheclockpodcast.com as part of Lineup Media Group. We give you the best football content every week, and we don't talk about any off-field drama, and we also do a DraftKings contest weekly where the top 2 players get to take home some money. So that's, once again, ontheclockpodcast.com. Come check us out and let us know what you think.
Back here with Darren Pang. I'm Kelly Chase, chasing pucks with Panger on NHLpodcast.com. And we are having a riot doing our podcast here. And folks, listen, if you want to shoot us an email, you want to tweet us, Darren Pang.
No, it's at Panger40.
At Panger40.
Let me take care
Kelly
of this part.
Chase at ChaseandPucks39.
At ChaseandPucks39. What do you got right now? You got to be at 50,000 followers.
I don't think so, Panger. I'm just around 40.
No, I think with this here,
I got to be honest with you. I am not as savvy as you with the tweeting. Be honest with you. You know me. I'm one of those guys that just kind of, once in a while, something funny. If I can.
A little
throw it out
sarcastic.
there. A little sarcastic.
Yeah.
Throw that out there every once in a while and make sure that I, get some people aggravated every once in a while just for fun. And no, that's it.
yeah, at ChaseandPucks39. You always wear 39? Was there any time in the NHL you didn't wear
27.
39?
Hartford. Came to
27.
Hartford with the Whalers. Skipper there, the trainer said, no, we can't give you 39, Chase said. We gonna give it. We hold it for Robert Petrovicki. I said, who? And he goes, Robert Petrovicki, first rounder. I said, oh, okay. So I wore it at the end of the year, fought about however many times. Skip's kind of starting to take a liking to me. Robert Petrovicki comes through the middle of the ice at training camp, and Stephen Rice knocks him cold with a hit. Come in the room, he goes, Chaser, you got 39.
What a good story that is.
True story. You got 39, Chaser. Poor Robert Petrovicki, who I happen to like. His nickname was Bobo. And Bobo got knocked cold. I mean, cold. And, they, at that time of hockey, out with the squeegee, out with the water, scraped him off the ice, shot him into the corner. He went in the training room, and life went on. And,
what number did he wear after that?
I don't even know if he came up again with us. I know I think we traded him to St. Louis.
Ah.
And I came back to St. Louis, and he didn't have it either.
Isn't it funny that he
came back to St. Louis? Scott Pellerin was living in my house. He was living in my house, sitting in my stall in the locker room, wearing number 39. Okay, they just gave him that number at the start of the year. We're going to have the home opener. I said to him, don't move into my house just yet, because there's a small chance I'm going to get traded back to St. Louis. So don't move in today. I'll know by 3 o'clock. But the movers are coming. I said, Scotty, he moved in. I got traded 3:30 that day. First of all, I got traded at 2 o'clock, but at 3:30, Mike Smith told me, thank him for trading me back to St. Louis, but he was looking for a house. He didn't have time to call me and to tell me, so no one could find him because he was looking for an apartment or a house in Toronto with a real estate agent. By the time he got back to me, I had my truck loaded because I knew I was getting traded. He said, listen, we can't keep all of you, and I'm not
Mike
putting
Smith, the GM?
Yeah. He says, you're going back home. So I'm driving back to St. Louis. I phoned Scott Pellerin. I come back in the morning for the home opener. I come down. His stuff is in my stall.
39 is on his back.
Take 39 from him, take my stall from him, take my house back. Poor kid's out, and out. Strike 1, 2, and boom. Back to the cage, kid.
No kidding.
Oh, great guy, too, Scotty Pellerin. So,
what did he wear after that?
33.
That's right, 33.
So that was
I love the numbers game.
Oh, I love it.
Well, here we are doing our podcast, Chasing Pucks with Panger. And you're number 39, and I'm number 40.
I love it.
Eh? One off the mark.
39.
You know who wore number 40 in Chicago? I wanted number 40 because Rogie Vachon wore number 40 in Detroit. He was my hero. Right. When he signed that big UFA deal from L.A. to Detroit, he wore number 40. Actually, in the alumni room at Harding's Ice Box with the Blues, there's a good picture of him in a Detroit Red Wings with number 40. And so I get to camp, and Jim and Ralph is number 40. So I wear number 34, I wear number, 31, I wear number 1 time, and I knew Glenn Hall, they were going to retire it, so I didn't want to have number 1, so got that out of the way. And anyway, Ralphie ends up, we're playing together in Milwaukee, he tears his MCL in Toledo. So Ralphie's done for the year. I play the rest of the games that year, I play like almost 60. I get called up to the NHL and get to play. This is just luck, huh? Right. Ralphie was supposed to be the guy to do it. I take number 40 the next year at training camp. That's the number I wanted. And I make the Blackhawks.
That's awesome. Yeah. Poor guy.
Oh, geez.
Shut right out.
Isn't it something?
Shut right out.
The way that can happen, huh?
Here's a story for you. John Scott leading in All-Star votes. What do you do when John Scott gets voted? Don't hang your head. Lift your head up, boy.
Oh, my God.
So what do you do? What does the league do when John Scott makes the All-Star game? The fans vote.
No, you know what you do? You say, thank you, fans. We really appreciate it. You guys are great. John Scott, you're not playing in the All-Star game.
Does he come there to be
happening.
Does he come there to be on the bench as a coach? An honorary captain?
No. He just stays at home. He goes to Cancun.
Does he get an All-Star jersey?
That's a good call. I'd send him an All-Star jersey.
Absolutely.
You know what? And I'd have it in a shadow box and everything. Beautiful one.
What's the difference with him and what happened last year?
What happened
with
last
Buffalo
year?
and
yeah, with Gergensen.
Yeah.
You're right. It's a popularity contest. This one here, though, is not. Gergensen's a good young player that a whole country wanted him in there because they're a proud, small little country. John Scott is more like that defenseman in Vancouver. I can't remember his name now. They tried so hard to get him into the All-Star game. A marginal player, played 5 or 6 minutes. John Scott doesn't play enough to be in the All-Star game. That's
Hanger,
it. Over and done.
If it's a popularity contest.
When did John Scott become popular?
Well, apparently right now, there's a whole group of people that like the big guy, like the tough guys.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So let me ask you.
Yeah.
Why, if they're voting, shouldn't he be recognized at being good at his vocation? They take goalies.
Because he doesn't play enough.
Because they take goalies.
No, but he doesn't play enough. I love a guy. Okay, let's just take Matt Martin from the New York Islanders.
Right.
Okay? Plays 11 minutes a night.
Right.
I think there's a difference between playing 11 minutes a night and playing 3.
Okay, so should there be
an area for that kind of player?
Area in the Hall of Fame for fighters?
Here we go. Should there be an area in the Hall of Fame for fighters?
For tough guys.
Yeah. Well, they've played as big a role. I mean, I'm not saying as big a role as the ultimate top-end players or superstars in the league, but they've protected those players along the way. It's a team sport.
You have a builders category.
I would like to see an area.
You have a builders category.
I know that.
They let writers in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, they don't officially get to go in the Hall of Fame.
But there's a wing for them. So should there be an area for the tough guys? I want people tweeting this. I want to know about this.
Yeah. I personally know the value of it. You don't think I do because I was just the goalie.
No, I know.
I got pumped up.
The value.
I mean, I got pumped up and knew the value in a hockey game when that moment happened, and it changed the momentum of a hockey game, and it gave you courage in a hockey game, and it made you a bigger, tougher team to play against. How would you do it? I'm thinking aloud here. How would you do it? Would you separate it into, like, you can't separate it. You've got to just include them.
You can't talk out of both sides of your mouth.
No. I just wondering where to put them.
Okay. But if they're an important part of it because they give you the energy and everything, why can't John Scott play in the All-Star game?
Because he doesn't play enough. Because he doesn't play like Bob Probert played 15 minutes a night.
Tony Twist didn't.
How much did Tony? He played more than 3, didn't he?
Yeah, 5.
Okay,
5 to 6.
Okay.
But my point is, this is I'm trying to get to. This is a part of the game that people obviously have a liking to.
Yeah.
It's not some guy at home just filling out a ballot box for him and filling out. At least I don't think, unless he's got a lot of relatives.
I don't want to be. I didn't even know who he was playing for this year. Sorry, John. And I like John Scott. It's got nothing to do with this. I actually thought he was in San Jose until I found out he was in Phoenix or Arizona. Then that's on me. That's my fault.
No. I get it. I think it's actually quite funny that he's being recognized like this. But I will say that. But it does go to show.
So what do you think? So you think he should play in the All-Star game? In 3-on-3? I love his tweets or whatever he said lately. He's actually come out and said, guys, 3-on-3 is not going to help me one bit.
Well, I don't think he wants to play in it, but I think that there has to be a way that you have to recognize it. Because the league has a habit when it comes to the fighting and the tough guys of putting their head in the sand and just hoping the wind blows away and goes away.
And we're in a tough climate right now.
And I understand that. Yeah. You got coaches that don't. You got players that. You should get a penalty for standing around in front of the net in a scuffle. Mm-hmm. You know why? Because they don't fight anyway.
Yeah.
What are you in there talking about?
No,
you come in
right.
and push a guy.
Well,
Great.
yeah.
Now you're pushing. Now my kids are starting to do it again. I'm like,
10.
Hey,
10,
just
10, shove along.
Just shut your mouth, I say to my
Yeah,
boys.
no,
Just shut your mouth and go to the bench because
Yeah.
all you're doing is talking, and you're not going to fight anyway. If you really think it's important, okay, son, I'll see if I can line something up in the parking lot with the other young man there and see if that all works. That usually puts a stop to the fighting.
Yeah, that certainly does.
But all the talking and all the stuff that goes on now, so
I'm looking through tough guys now and saying who should be going to the All-Star game.
Well, it is a hard thing to try and to try and manage, but John Scott thing was something that piqued my interest this week.
I knew you were into something there.
All right, here's another one for you. Buffalo gets the World Juniors. They beat out St. Louis and Pittsburgh, and they're going to make an announcement, and we'll make it here first. But they'll do an outdoor game. I mean, I know there's a lot of talk of it. St. Louis's bid was to also do outdoor, a couple, and
Would that
a
be
couple of
at
games.
Busch
So it would
Stadium?
have been at Busch Stadium, and would have been probably Sweden, Canada, U.S., Russia were the games, I believe. And,
Wow.
And along with the bid, Buffalo, made some hefty promises.
Yeah.
They did what they did last time. They've had it before, and I think there was a $10 million guarantee that goes along with Buffalo's bid, and to me, that's a significant amount of money that St. Louis, had big shoes to fill. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, they were out, and basically because they had to play in Erie, I believe, was their second building, which was an hour and 20 minutes away, and I think that scared a lot of people of it not being centralized, whereas both St. Louis and Buffalo were capable of having them right in the central area. St. Louis out in St. Charles and Family Arena, and then they have everything.
A great arena, too.
Great arena. And then
how many 10,000?
9,000.
9,000 at Family. So the Blues had the next best situation.
Exactly. And
made a great presentation.
Pittsburgh was in the running as well, and then of course Buffalo gets it. But you know what I fear now for the Americans?
Yeah. Is that Canada's going to be the home team?
Yeah. They're now definitely the away team in Buffalo. Yeah. And generally, the Canadians make a habit. That's their holiday every year. There's people that actually travel just to the World Juniors, wherever they may be, just to see them. So I think both Pittsburgh and St. Louis did a great job of opening the eyes of USA Hockey and what's gone on, and traditionally not had the great looks from any of these types of tournaments, international tournaments, but now we'll get the opportunity to have USA broaden their opinions and horizons on what goes on in those cities, and I think both of them do a fantastic job with their youth program. So congratulations to Buffalo, and it will be exciting for the first outdoor game for the World Juniors. It will be Canada-US, and so it'll be a big one.
It's going to be awesome. I'm so impressed with what Terry Pagula and they have done. They're our good friend Mark Preisler's involved in the kind of the management team over there. Kevin Adams, the former player, is right involved there as well. And on their hockey side, they're the schools and everything they got. Marty Biron's there. But when we went to Buffalo the last time, which was only less than a month ago, the hotel scenario right down there, they're going to have outdoor rinks where the old Odd was. They're going to have several outdoor rinks right there. It's great. It's going to be fantastic. And you know what? And it's going to lure a lot of UFAs that would never have considered Buffalo.
I'm telling you right now, that's set up.
And I'm not saying it's a destination team, but they're a good young team.
No, I get what you're saying.
They got passion amongst the fans. They sell out the building, and I think that's fantastic. So congratulations to them. But Blues as well did a phenomenal job as well, and I'm thinking they'd rather have a Stanley Cup parade down Market Street right about now.
I don't think there's any question.
Be a good trade-in. Missed out on the World Junior, but we're going to have this bigger parade.
No question about it. Now, you had the opportunity to sit down with our guest of the week. So
I did.
And,
want me to roll on that for a second?
Why, you can. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you, Darren?
That's a great idea, big guy. And listen, I'm not going to lie to you either on this, because you know me. I'm an honest guy when it comes to this.
Yeah.
I sat down with John Davidson.
Yeah.
Okay? A guy that I have looked up to in a big way as certainly as a broadcaster. When I retired from the game, I called upon him. I read stuff that he did. So he was a big influence in my broadcast career, and he brought me to a couple of Olympics. I know he was responsible in Nagano and in Salt Lake City. So we've had some good times along the way. But one thing I'm not really good at is this microphone. So Chaser.
Oh, come on.
So here's what happens. I don't put me in charge of the microphone. The interview went a lot longer than what I'm going to roll here, but I kind of screwed up the first part. Okay, so we're going to join it in progress, and the progress that I'm going to join it in is talking to John Davidson, now the president of hockey operations for the Columbus Blue Jackets. We sat down in St. Louis recently, talked about his experiences all over the world.
Different parts of the world. I was in Italy. I was in Japan, obviously. I was in Norway. Salt Lake City was good. All over the place. To see the different cultures and how different countries react with their hockey, it's pretty fascinating.
Really fascinating. I remember being up there because I think Michelle Kwan kept thinking I was Scotty Hamilton.
Scotty's one of the all-time great guys. Yeah. That's the other thing you do too when you go to those types of things, is you get to know a lot of the athletes that you only see on TV because you're not in their sport. So you get to know them all. Great people. I can remember in Salt Lake City when you and I trekked outside to go see the rock and roll band, the Bare Naked Ladies. Remember that? Yeah. Those guys, and Tyler Stewart, the drummer, is a goalie, and loved to talk hockey. That was fun. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was really good. You had dragged me out. I had no energy left in the tank, and you let's go. We're going to go grab some dinner and watch the Bare Naked Ladies.
Yeah, it was pretty good. They're such good people, and the common denominator for all of us is, here I am. I'm 62 years of age now. It's been in the league since 1973. The common denominator is the game. What a lucky. I used to sit when I was broadcasting games at Madison Square Garden, and I did it for a long time. You get up there early for a 7 o'clock game. You could be up there at 5:30, and you sit up in the booth and you look down to an empty arena, and you go, "What am I doing here? I'm just a kid that grew up in Calgary, Alberta, in Western Canada. Here I am in Manhattan at Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena, and I'm broadcasting in it. My goodness!" And you think about it, it's provided a great lifestyle for all of us.
With John Davidson right now, and he's lucky enough to be on NHLwebcast.com. I mean, you've run the gamut, and now you're here on Chasing Pucks with Panger, it's called, and there's probably nothing like it. This is probably something that you've
the pinnacle, the pinnacle of one's career. I used to hit pinnacle golf balls, but now I know better. This is the pinnacle.
Well, we've had did you miss Boone Valley, by the way?
Yes, I do. Oh. Yes, I do. I love Columbus. It's very similar. It could almost be a sister city to St. Louis. And there's a golf course there called Double Eagle that our team owner owns, and it's like a sister course to Boone Valley that you have just outside of St. Louis. And we were over at Meadowbrook, and just wonderful people. A lot of times, you can play golf courses, and they're nice. They're real nice. And Columbus has 4 top 100 courses. But it's more about the people. Yeah. And when you're lucky enough to live in a city like St. Louis or Columbus, it's about the people. And we're, again, fortunate enough to get to know people, and this Midwestern lifestyle is pretty good.
Yeah, you brought me here to St. Louis, and I thank that. I'm on my 7th year here, and when you first asked me to come to St. Louis, it was a little bit of a leap of faith on all counts, never having to play for the St. Louis Blues, and you just told me to be a broadcaster, and they'll take into you, and boy, has it worked out great, JD. I never got a chance to say thanks.
Well, no, it's a good city. It's a great hockey city. It's an unbelievable sports city, and the people here are they're good. They're kind-hearted. They love honesty. They love the tradition of what the Blues are about. And if a person can come in and work and enjoy it and blend into the community and be a part of the community, I think one of the things that people have to do, it's like when I came to St. Louis, I moved here. I lived here. And then when that came to an end, I moved to Columbus. I didn't want to at first because I came to St. Louis because I had played here. And I'd only known New York and St. Louis. But I was 59, and that's pretty young. I got a lot to do. So I went to Columbus, and you got to move in. You got to be part of the community. And that's what you and your wife did, and your kids are around here now. And it's being a part of the community, helping make the city a better place. That's a big part of what professional sports should be about. And most people around, especially hockey. That's what they do. And in Columbus, our ownership there, it's a mandate to make Columbus a better city. And I think it's one of the best kept secrets in the entire country. It's a terrific city to live, to raise children. There are schools, sports, everything all in.
Yeah, I can't wait to go to Double Eagle or Muirfield Village and take on the member guest championship like we did at Boone Valley. So it was an important trophy in my golfing career, JD. Do you have any, at this particular point, going from where you've gone to and then being a president, overseeing two teams right now, is there what's the love that you get, or what's the drive or the passion or the excitement?
It's hockey, and it's about winning. It's about success. I think when I came to St. Louis, I was pretty green. I had no experience wearing a suit, but I quickly learned. And the thing that I'm probably most proud of is we were up against it here. There wasn't very much in the pipeline. We didn't have an abundance of funds to run around and get free agents, and sometimes that's good. So we had to draft and develop. And with Yarmo and others, I look at the Blues now and I see the core of their club. So it's a team that drafted well and is developing. And I had to do the exact same thing in Columbus. They were a little further ahead than what was St. Louis when I got here. But I had more experience behind me going to Columbus because of what I was able to gain here. So it's the drive is about winning, but it's also about seeing young people do well, to see kids realize their dreams, to see I guess a guy like Tarasenko, who I went over to Finland and took a bag full of St. Louis Blues paraphernalia over there and waited for him after a practice and kind of hid around the corner and gave him the bag, and he had a twinkle in his eye and a big smile, couldn't speak English real well. But we were trying to, and it was all a plan, to get him to understand that we really like him. And we want him to be a Blue. And I know he's not in St. Louis yet, but you're going to be, and you're going to love it. And to see the way that this kid is developed with a love to score and a love to play the game, that's the stuff you live for. I look at a kid like Parayko, who's still green as grass, but he's got a great chance. And I know, I'll mention my brother as being part of the drafting of Colton. Nobody even heard of the guy, and he kept pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, and it got done. I can remember sitting at the draft table in Ottawa. I think it was. I can't remember where it was, but we decided at the table, and Doug Armstrong did a good job of finding a way to draft both Tarasenko and Schwartz. Made the trade and had two picks just about next to each other, and took them and got them both, and things like that. It was a team effort, and I think it was Danny Janelle, one of the scouts. He's sitting there and he goes, "Why don't we try to get them both?" And Doug got right on the phone and made a trade, just like that, and give Doug a lot of credit for that. I mean, that's what you do. You get aggressive. You try to do things. You do your work at grassroots, and things happen. But all that being said, that's what drives you. That's what drives you. It's a worldwide game, and not easy, but it drives you.
Well, you mentioned Colton Parayko. We've mentioned it many times on the air how Marshall Davidson and your brother had not only scouted Colton and liked him at a younger age when he was more of a raw thoroughbred at the time, but to the point where he wouldn't even go to the games close by because all the scouts were there, and he didn't want to let them know that he was interested at all.
It's a true story. It's a true story. He used to he wouldn't go see him in Calgary or Edmonton in the Tier 2 league, but he'd go to Drumheller, which is
where the heck is Drumheller?
It's a couple hours out of Calgary, and it's known for dinosaurs. Seriously, where they've uncovered a bunch of dinosaurs. But they had a team in the league, and he'd go there and watch them play, and be the only scout in the stands. Now, I mean, unfortunately, he was there when it was time to draft him, and you have to push for a guy, but you also have to have the leadership listen, and they did, and they're able to pick him. So it was good for the Blues. This kid looks like he's got a chance to be a great player. If he ever starts hitting the net with that rocket he has, it'd be scary.
We've let him know many times who the guy was that scouted him. Do you know that?
No.
He's such a wonderful kid.
Yeah.
We tell him the story, and he was a little oblivious, but he's the kind of kid that will remember the name.
He's a good kid.
Boy, he stands up and shakes your hand whenever you meet him. I mean, a real gentleman.
It's nice to see good kids like that in our game.
Yeah.
It really is, and obviously his upbringing has a lot to do with it. And I tell a lot of our young players, just the whole world's sitting there.
Yeah.
It's sitting there. You can go get it if you want it. In our world of hockey, just do it the right way, drive yourself, and I think that kid's got it.
I'll end it on this. Speaking of doing it the right way, was it the right way when that Clydesdale came through the doors?
That was
it's been mentioned to me again, and I we'll end it on this little quick note, okay?
It was a Tennessee Walker. We had my first year of marriage, which is 42 years ago, out in Chesterfield. I had bought a 5.5-acre place from Glenn Sather, who was traded. It cost $93,000, 2 horses included, and furniture. And so we had New Year's Eve at my place out there, my first year of marriage. And I look out the window, and there's Floyd Thompson, former Blue, White Pine we called him, on top of the horse. The horse's name was Moonstep. It was a Tennessee Walker, a big horse. And Bobby Plager had taken his belt off and had it around the neck of the horse, and he's pulling the horse. I'm going, oh my God, where are they going? So up the steps and across the back patio, as they pull the horse into the house, White Pine hits his head above the door and falls off. And Bobby doesn't stop. He brings this monstrous horse into the house. Now, this house had real nice hardwood floors and carpet that was not wall to wall. So you could see like 6 inches of beautiful hardwood floor to the wall after the carpet ended. And he'd take the horse from room to room, and as the horse went around from room to room, the hooves would go and scratch the hardwood right out. Now, my wife... No, it didn't take it well at the time. I was kind of giggling, and I shouldn't have, so I was in trouble. But Bobby was being Bobby. It was all taken care of after, and Bobby Plager was being Bobby Plager, and he hasn't changed since. It was a classic, just a classic.
He hasn't. That's a great way to end it, JD, and it's always a pleasure catching up with you as always, bud. I still tell people that you went 3 for 2 3 times when we won the club championship or the member guest championship. You went 3 for 2 3 times to win that.
Lion Squirrel finds the acorn, and Doug Armstrong thinks I don't have an honest handicap.
I love that we're going to end it on that, of all things. Thanks, big boy. Okay, John Davidson, our guest. We'll return right after this.
You're listening to Kelly Chase and Darren Payne. If you're in the mood for some more sports talk, try Not So Fast here on the Lineup Media Group Network. Myself, Tony Hubert, my friends Jimbo, Tio, and Big E, we bring you all the conversations that you wish you could have in the office. The difference, we tape them, we record them, and we play them back so you can enjoy them. Not So Fast here on the Lineup Media Group. Losses bring more.
Oh, my gosh.
What?
You know nothing about MMA, and apparently you don't either.
Oh, I'll bet you 3 to 1. Make it simple. I'm not doing anything stupid. I would take Bryce Harper, take him to Armenia just to breed. I got to tell you, not to be gay, but the guy looked good.
Not So Fast. Find us online at notsofastpodcast.com. Plus on iTunes, Stitcher, and all major podcast outlets. Get every LMG podcast now at lineupmediagroup.com.
Back here with Darren Pang. I'm Kelly Chase.
Rolling. Got to keep on rolling.
Chasing pucks with Pang. Darren Pang, Kelly Chase, Panger40 at Panger40 on Twitter, at NHL Show, or at ChasingPucks39. It's on NHLpodcast.com, and you can email us at NHLpodcast.com for info at NHLpodcast.com. You can go to iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, or any major podcast outlet. Click on subscribe and leave us a 5-star rating, and that'll help our reviews, and we would appreciate it. And remember, you can check out all of our shows and our lineups on Lineup Media Group for shows like Ocho Man, Behind the 8 Ball. You're on the clock. Let's get it on MMA with Big John McCarthy and Sean Wheelock. Check it out now at lineupmediagroup.com. And Panger, great time talking with John Davidson. Story's phenomenal. I mean,
could have gone forever.
That's what I love about it.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the tweet of the week. The tweet of the week. Yeah. I got the tweet of the week. The tweet of the week was, "You're in it." Last week, little grief I took over the referees. This week, kind of a cool story.
You know what? I thought it was pretty cool. And I sent out something last week. When Garrett Sparks got a shutout. In his very first NHL game. The first Toronto Maple Leaf to ever do that.
Unbelievable.
Which, you think of all the great goalies in Maple Leaf history, he's the first one to ever have a shutout in his first game. I sent out a tweet and at Panger40, and all I said was I congratulated him, and he's at G Sparks 40. See that?
Yeah, I like
I'm
that.
at Panger 40. He's at G Sparks 40, and so I say what I can I say what I said? So he starts. So I say at G Sparks 40 starts his first NHL game and gets a shutout. I had one going for 1:48. I looked at the stat sheet. 1:48 before sniper Kurt Giles scored on my first shot. So that's what I fired out there. And, so I fired that out there. And I didn't know that Garrett Sparks has a connection to me. I had no idea when I sent that out. He played with Robbie Fabry in Guelph in the Ontario League.
Right.
Didn't know he was from Elmhurst, Illinois at first. I'm trying to sift through this Garrett Sparks guy. Well, I'm going to go to another part of it. During the Maple Leaf game that he got the shutout in, I get a text from Curtis Joseph. Okay? Curtis Joseph wore number 31 with the Leafs, the mask with the teeth.
Right.
Garrett Sparks is wearing number 31. He's got a very close replica mask of Curtis Joseph. Cujo said to me, said, "Isn't that something? Look at this kid. He's wearing 31 and he's got my mask." Kind of like,
right.
Must really like Curtis Joseph.
Right.
The next morning, I get a text from Garrett, tweet from Garrett Sparks that is classic. He says, where am I here with Garrett Sparks here? He says, at Panger 40, don't know if you remember, but there's a reason I started wearing 40, and there's a picture of me and him. He's about a 6-year-old at a goalie camp in Chicago. So I didn't have the heart to send a note back to Cujo and say, "Hey, big boy." He doesn't really like 31. He grew up liking number 40. So the 448 wins or whatever that you had, 454 wins that you had in the NHL, he most likes my 27 career wins.
Definitely our tweet of the week. Definitely our tweet of the week. Garrett Sparks, what do you think about, and so of course at the post-game interview, they asked him a question, what do you think about doing? And he just emotionally overcome him and he started crying.
He's got a lot of me in him, doesn't he?
Oh my God!
Baller.
Listen, I'm a crier.
Yeah,
I'm a
you
crier.
are too.
I'm a crier.
You're an emotional, sensitive guy.
But I couldn't do that in that situation. I couldn't. I would not have done that. I mean, that poor kid, the heat that he is going to take from his teammates. Isn't that something that we're that? Listen, folks, there is absolutely zero HR department when it comes to the locker room. You can say whatever you want, and we do to each other. It is ruthless. It is sometimes way over the line, and we sort it out. It's amazing how life, you can't say one thing without offending somebody or hurting somebody's feelings, some social group, some political group, someone personally. But in the locker room, we can be stronger as a group by saying whatever we want to one another to make sure that we straighten it out and we leave it in the locker room. No HR department in hockey, folks. There is no HR department in hockey. There's nobody coming. Yeah.
Someone got the 9 of hearts.
Somebody did.
Yeah.
Folks, listen, that's our tweet of the week. And I'll tell you what, if you want to give us some love, next time you're going to buy something on Amazon, before you go to our website at NHLpodcast.com, you click on the Amazon banner. It doesn't cost you anything, okay? It doesn't cost you a thing to do it. We get credit for the referral, and it keeps us in the show on the air and keeps us paying the bills around here. So that'd be great. If you don't mind, just give us a little love. Go to Amazon, click on our website, or go to our website, NHLpodcast.com, click on the Amazon banner, and it'd be fantastic for you. If you're going there anyway, why not? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you, Darren?
Why wouldn't you?
We'll be back in a minute, chasing pucks with Panger, here on NHLpodcast.com.
This is Lineup Media Group, perfection in podcasting.
And here they are, always anticipated here on NHLpodcast.com. Kelly Chase and Darren Pang. We love the 3 calls, the top 3 calls that we've chosen right here on Chasing Pucks with Panger.
And a change sides with Seabrook. Kane takes a look. Seabrook sneaking in. Where's Kane going to go? He tried a shot. He scored! Patrick Kane has scored for his 21st consecutive game, tying the all-time Chicago record. The Hawks cash on a 2-man advantage and are now down 1. Well, congratulations to Patrick Kane. 21 straight, tying the great Golden Jet Bobby Hull. Consecutive scoring streak in Blackhawk history.
I'm sure they will eventually. And we were joking, Barbakowski needs all the help he can get. He can't afford to give any away.
All pocket pick. There he is again. Malkin scores! What a goal! Marvelous Malkin! That was magic. Wow!
We talked about it when he's feeling it, when he's playing well, he can do stuff like this. Pitch press on pocket. Excuse me. Spinorama. Bar down. It's getting Malkin. That is just magic. Oh my goodness.
5 seconds. And Garrett Sparks, you will remember this night for a long time. He picks up a shutout in his National Hockey League debut.
Big smile. Pretty special stuff, isn't it? Yeah, let's get a recording of this. If that doesn't tug your emotional strings, nothing will. That's pretty cool.
The Leafs pick up a 3-0 win, but not just any old 3-0 win for Garrett Sparks. The first win of his NHL career, and it's a shutout.
Back here on NHLpodcast.com, I'm Kelly Chase, along with Darren Pang and Chase and Bucks Panger. And Panger, every week we like to throw out the Dude Really segment, making sure that we get a little bit of I guess we're touching into the base of the Dude Really segment, where we get a little controversy once in a while around the league, and that's what we got going here this week, and we're going to Minnesota with it. Ryan Suter, he got a new defense partner, and he wasn't happy about the change. He said, I don't know what they're thinking, when he learned he'd be reunited with Jonas Brodin and his partner for much of the past 2 seasons. He said, I need to play with a right-handed defenseman, and I'm not happy about it. And he let the coach know through the media, maybe not the timing being great because they were losing and stuff, but dude, really? Is that what you do, Panger? You blast it out to the media?
I found that almost calculated. You know that? When I listened to it, and Ryan Suter, when you ask him a question, he's thoughtful. He knows what he's saying and knows how to answer it. Not a real boisterous guy, but a thoughtful guy. And the way he said it, and the way he looked around in that locker room, and he was clearly making a point. And I don't know if he went in the locker room first and they talked about it with the coaches. I didn't get that impression when he was doing the interview or the scrum that they had afterwards. So he'd been playing with Jared Spurgeon. Right hand. So they got Dumba, Spurgeon, and really Prosser are their right hand shots. I thought he and Brodin were awesome together.
Right.
Did you?
I did. I'm surprised by it, and I also think that, I'm surprised by it, but I also think it's really odd that with all of the changes that go on in a game, that you have to be frustrated with more than just that to come out and say that to the media.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's other things bothering you to that point before you come out and have. We're pretty calculated when it comes to what we say. Mm-hmm. I mean, unless you're Brett Hall or Jeremy Roenick, mm-hmm. you don't just say it to get a reaction. And these guys, to me, something's gone on to this point. It didn't just start that morning. It got to that point. So for me, I my whole, dude, really? Do you say it to the media? I guess.
This is the way we are.
But I liked the fact that he come out, because listen, sometimes the coaches get comfortable too in thinking that, the game, and here again, the game's easier than it is.
Yeah.
And it's not easier than it is. No, it sometimes your players make adjustments for the coaches. Mm-hmm. You seen the Claude Giroux grabbing the
whiteboard?
The whiteboard going
fantastic. On the 4-on-3?
I thought it was fantastic too. I have never seen that in hockey. I have never seen the coaches hand the whiteboard to the players and say, "Here, you guys figure it out." Yeah.
They should do it more often.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
Why?
They're the ones that know instinctively what to do, or they're the ones that know the habits of the defending team, as an example. I mean, Drew drew it up and did it. That's awesome.
No matter what, though, you have to have a conversation with your players prior to, so you should be talking to them, reiterating it.
Yeah.
How can you not be prepared for that situation? It should have been. I'll tell you, Bobby Plager took the Peoria Rivermen when I was playing there in the minors the year we won the championship, and he took Dave. They took about 7 guys in the locker room, and he said, "Listen to Dave Tomlinson." He said, "Where was your power play ranked last year?" And he said, "number 1." He said, "Here," and he handed him the dry erase. He said, "I want you to show these other 3 guys what you guys did on the power play, and this is you guys are going to run the power play." And I said, "I didn't play in a power play, and this is you guys, you know." Yep. And he stood there and watched and looked at it and assessed it game to game and sometimes made adjustments with players. Mm-hmm. But he said, "You got the number 1 power play, and the same 4 of the 5 are here. So the other 4 of you get on board because you're going to be rotating in spots." Yeah. And that's what he did. Yeah. And by the way, he used me on the power play. I know that was coming out of you next. So,
were you the net front presence guy?
I might have been sliding off to the side once in a while,
side?
Like getting tap ins from Nelson Emerson.
But like Troy Brower's good at it.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. No, actually, I really enjoyed
being there. You have good hands. Don't sell yourself short.
No,
I'm dead serious.
I really enjoyed playing for Bobby and having the opportunity to play more because you know we had a successful team. I had a lot of points that year and a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed the game that year because he
probably the most fun you had as a player, huh?
Yeah, Joel Quenneville and him were the 2 guys that I really enjoyed. Joel Quenneville never one time addressed my position and how I should address the players on the ice. He let me. He very seldom ever grabbed a hold of me and said, "Hey, just calm it down a little bit." He knew that I knew the role better than he did, and he left me alone to do it. And he knew that I had the best intentions for the team. You know, that I wasn't trying to take advantage or just be selfish about it. I wasn't trying to stand out. I just wanted to. I really, I should have concentrated more on playing than I should have fighting, probably. Which is, neither here nor there now. But in any event, what a great week, Panger. Thanks for your time, buddy.
Yeah, that's actually really good stuff, buddy. Really enjoyable day. I know we're doing it at some swanky hotel, on the road, and
Let's just say it's a Ritz.
It's a Ritz.
Who would care?
Whatever.
It's the way we roll here.
I'm just as we're doing it, I'm getting a manicure, pedicure here anyway. So, Muffy. Chase, another great week, buddy, and we are really enjoying our NHLpodcast.com, and find us, tweet about it. And we
download the free audiobook.
Download that. Yeah, absolutely.
audibletrial.com/NHL. Again, that's audibletrial.com/NHL for your free audiobook. And let me tell you, it's been a lot of fun on NHLpodcast.com and our great friends over at Lineup Media Group for setting everything up. Chris Lakin, fantastic job.
Yep, he puts up with our act.
We'll be back.
He's a magician.
He is a magician. We'll be back next week with a little bit more on NHLpodcast.com. Darren Pang, Kelly Chase, out.
This has been Chasing Pucks with Panger, a Lineup Media Group production. Find the show online at NHLpodcast.com, plus on iTunes, Stitcher, and all major podcast outlets. Get access to all of the Lineup Media Group shows at lineupmediagroup.com.